No matter how you look at it, it's just plain weird. God on one side and sex and Lucifer on the other. My family and the sex, shame, guilt thing.
I won a contest in the 8th grade. John Berry, father of the American Navy. And I was always taking English classes, and of course I was such a strange, odd kid. So I spent a lot of time writing poetry and short stories and little essays, just so that I could have something like me out in the world.
That's my 4th book, can you believe it? I've lived to write 4 books.
Tom Spanbauer grew up in Idaho, Catholic and gay.
Look at that young guy. Look at that beautiful guy.
He created dangerous writing as a way to write about his own life in all its complexity.
I go to where it's sore and sad and secret. The family secrets are usually full of juice, you know.
Dangerous writers inhabit their characters' bodies.
By investigating these places, it gives the writing a gravity, because you are actually going someplace that scares you.
Idaho figures in every Tom Spanbauer book. His first is called Faraway Places.
There was sky everywhere. Outside the windows, under the beds, between the ceiling and the floor, there was sky. There was sky between your fingers when you spread them, and sky under your arms when you lifted them up. Sky around your neck and ears and head, and sky pressing against your eyeballs. When you took a breath, you were breathing sky. Sky was in your lungs. My mother hung up wash across the sky. I swung in my swing to the sky. There was no escaping it. The sky was as everywhere as the nuns at the St. Joseph's School said God was.
This was actually the very first novel that was published from Dangerous Writing. It's Greg Kleiner.
Tom Spanbauer also teaches dangerous writing.
Jackie Moore Fisher, An Egg on 3 Sticks. Joanna Rose, she wrote this also in class. Jennifer Lau, was a New York Times bestseller for a long time. And she said that she would mention me on Oprah, and she didn't. See how she is?
There are scores of dangerous writers out there.
Says you're your most famous student, obviously.
Yeah, Chuck Palahniuk Fight Club, yeah, absolutely. He came to me and he had written this, he's writing in 3rd person, and you know, it was like an airport novel kind of stuff. And I showed him some Amy Hempel, and we started talking about some of the dangerous writing stuff on the body, you know, voice. And once he heard it, this 1st person voice, he just took it and ran with it.
Voice is one of the key concepts of dangerous writing. Listen to the voice of Shed, the hero of The Man Who Fell in Love with the Moon.
Heard my mother tell a customer once that she liked the Killdeer bird because Killdeer played a trick on you. Trick was, Killdeer acted like her wing was broke so that fox or coyote would follow her away from her nest. One day I found a Killdeer bird and followed her. That's just what she did, played as if her wing was broke so I'd follow her away from her nest. Thought that bird was pretty smart to do that. I was a lot like that bird. The Killdeer game was I was looking for something, but I didn't know what I was looking for. Was Killdeer I was looking for. Trick was, though, if you acted like you were looking for Killdeer, you'd never find Killdeer. You had to be Killdeer.
Tom Spanbauer's friends recently performed some of his scenes.
At 168th, the train stopped. The doors opened. Nobody moved.
The book, In the City of Shy Hunters, is the story of 5 friends in New York in the 80s when AIDS came out of nowhere and took a generation of men.
When you're thirsty, Harry said, water is so beautiful. I got up, I got a glass of water, and I brought the glass of water to Harry. I sat on the bed next to Harry, and I helped him lift his head. He took a sip. He said, beautiful, just beautiful. And all at once, Harry was looking at me, and he wasn't present. He wasn't there with me anymore.
The way that hit really friends were jumping off buildings. You know, it was a phenomenon like I have never experienced before. The palpable fear in the streets, well, it was, and I had to get that down on the page.
I've heard you say this book almost killed you to write.
Yeah. Yes, it did. It really did. First of all, I had to be a lot smarter than I was to write it. I was writing about something very serious, and I didn't want to make it too dramatic, and I didn't want to make it silly. It had to nail it. It had to nail it just right so that people who read this book could see what it was really like. And that was a lot of pressure. And of course, in the middle of it, I got AIDS.
I want to ask you to do something, if you're willing to do it, which is to write dangerously for us on camera.
I mean, just write.
Yeah, write a couple of sentences about that moment when you found out that you had AIDS.
I just got to find that place in me where that is. Okay. That night, I woke up after maybe 20 minutes of sleep. It was like I was awake and in the world, but I was also in the Shy Hunter's book. I got up, walked through the dark house naked, picking up objects, looking under them. I was searching for something I don't know what. Maybe it was God.
AIDS is always with him. Every day at 4 o'clock, he eats sardines no matter where he is.
Real cowboys do it.
This be yours.
Okay.
Today, he's at the Flying M Ranch in Yamhill. It's the first time in 10 years that he's ridden a horse.
Hey, so far so good.
His lover, Sage Ritchie, called it dangerous riding. But once you know how, you never forget. Like writing.
It's really what all writers want to get to, you know. That place, it feels to me like my body has expanded, and the light isn't coming from the computer screen, it's coming out of me. And it's just this wonderful place where you know that any moment, you know, you don't know quite how to say it, but you know you're going to say it, and then all of a sudden you go, oh, you say it, and it's like, oh my God, I just said it.
Hey, mighty fine ride, mighty fine ride.
It's alchemy. Who should I send this to?
Why don't we sign it for my husband?
Okay.
Tom Spanbauer says it's the survivor's responsibility to tell the story.
Enjoy every minute.
When he reads his new book to audiences, he begins by singing the title song, Now is the Hour. Like all his stories, it's his story.
Now is the hour when we must say goodbye. Soon you'll be sailing far across the sea. While you're away, oh then remember me. When you return, you'll find me waiting here.
Oregon Artbeat shares the stories of Oregon's amazing artists, and member support completes the picture. Join us as a sustaining member at opb.org/video.